Since 2012, the annual Global Citizen Festival has been raising awareness of the United Nations measures to fight inequality, protect the earth, and end extreme poverty by 2030. The lineup for this year's benefit concert was announced today, and organizers are not only asking fans to come out and support their favorite musicians, but also calling on the public to join the movement. With us now is Global Citizen Ambassador Kweku Mandela and CEO of the Global Citizen Movement, Hugh Evans. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you very much.
Incredible lineup, first of all.
We're very excited.
Beyonce,
We've got
Pearl Jam,
Coldplay, Ed Sheeran, the greatest artists of our time have come together.
It's going to be crazy.
It's been very amazing, actually. We can't believe that they all agreed to come together.
I know. It's pretty cool. So let's talk about the organization. What is Global Citizen?
Global Citizen is actually a digital platform. You go to globalcitizen.org and you start taking action in support of issues that you care about. So you might be passionate about the empowerment of women and girls. You might be passionate about water and sanitation. You might be passionate about food security. You can take action on some of the greatest global challenges of our time. And all of these actions earn you points. And you can use these points to actually enter the Global Citizen Festival for free or to be exchanged for other experiences. What we're building is an online community of people who want to take action. We've got millions of global citizens on there right now taking action day in and day out.
That's pretty cool. And Kweku, what does it mean to be a global ambassador for the
Global Citizen? I think for me, with 1.2 billion people that are living in extreme poverty right now, I felt it was crucial to put my voice behind the Global Citizen movement. As we've seen throughout history, movements take a long time to grow. And so my commitment was one that hopefully will end extreme poverty by 2030.
Do you see, I have to let our audience know that you are the grandson of Nelson Mandela.
Sure.
Do you see yourself carrying on in the footsteps of your grandfather?
I think my grandfather felt poverty was a man-made issue. Ultimately, it could be ended by men ultimately. And so in that shape and form, yes, I am carrying on my grandfather's legacy, as I feel many men and women are doing.
Yeah. This is the 4th year of the Global Citizen Festival. And this year, though, there's something different about it.
Right. This is a very historic year for our movement. It's upped the ante a lot because this year, the 2015 year, is the year when the previous set of global goals that were agreed upon by the United Nations in the year 2000, they expire in September. They're called the Millennium Development Goals. And the good news is that the last 15 years have been the most successful anti-poverty push in human history. So more people have been lifted out of extreme poverty in the last 15 years than in the 100 years prior to that, which is extraordinary. And so what that means is that this September, a new set of global goals will be announced. And these new set of global goals, called the Sustainable Development Goals, outline this roadmap of what it will take to end extreme poverty by 2030. And so we're going to be launching the global goals. Our goal is to make them famous, but also to build a lasting movement for the next 15 years so that we can hold world leaders accountable to ensure that those goals are achieved.
Do you think that we will see the end of poverty by 2030?
Statistically, it is possible. You're talking about 3%, which is approaching zero, is statistically possible, but it's not going to happen through economic growth alone. We actually need to create the enabling environment for people to lift themselves out of poverty, which means access to girls having access to a quality education right through to 12 years of high school. It also means healthcare, so vaccines and immunizations like the eradication of polio, but also HIV/AIDS antiretrovirals, bed nets for people living in communities that suffer from malaria. This is the sort of interventions we need so that people are not inhibited by the sort of challenging health standards that ultimately leads to child mortality or to the conditions where people cannot lift themselves out of extreme poverty, even if they have the wherewithal to do so.
It's interesting, and we were talking about this. I spent a couple of years in Nigeria, and I saw a country of enormous wealth, one of the wealthiest countries on the continent, and still 60% of their population living in poverty, according to the UN. I wonder, how much buy-in do you have from leaders of certain countries where they have the means to end poverty, but for a variety of reasons are not focused as much on winning that war as they should be?
Well, and Kweku, I'd love your thoughts on this as well, but from my perspective, we have to create the political will. Political will is a renewable asset, and that comes with time, with every election. Politicians are always trying to win elections, and if we can show that there is a demonstrable community of global citizens who are out there that care about these issues and are willing to act on them, then they can hold their world leaders accountable. But we need to demonstrate that there are enough people. This is about building a lasting movement that is politically salient. It has to have, a critical mass of people so that politicians cannot possibly ignore it. And so whether that's here in the United States, or where I'm from in Australia, or where Kweku's from in South Africa. It needs to be locally driven. And that's what Global Citizen is trying to build.
What's your take on that?
And I would say, you know, developing countries over the last 15 years have stepped up to the plate. If you look at the new commitments that are being put towards global education, developing countries are at the forefront of that. They've contributed and pledged the most amount of money. So I think we're starting to see a change in them taking serious the fact that they have to create opportunities for their people. They have to build development. But we know it won't happen overnight, ultimately. It's the long haul. The hope is by 2030, you know, we can ultimately end extreme poverty. But there'll still be a fight after that.
How did you decide to get involved in this, Kweku?
You know, I had the pleasure of meeting Hugh in 2006 when he was running Make Poverty History. Poverty has always been something that I'm deeply passionate about because obviously it affects me and my countrymen, you know, deeply. And so I wanted to get my voice behind this great organization and hopefully advocate for other young people to join Global Citizen and find out unique ways that they can help end extreme poverty.
Well, I got to say, with an act like you have coming up, it's not going to be hard to get people to take awareness and become aware of these issues. How did they come together? How did you put all these huge names together?
Well, Pearl Jam's involvement has been 4 years in the making because their manager, Kelly Curtis, has been a long-term friend of ours, and he's actually helped us establish the Global Citizen Tickets campaign and even created the Curtis Scholarship recently. So Pearl Jam have been involved. But then last year, Chris Martin called us, and he knew it was a historic year.
That's awesome.
And he said, what can I do? How can I be even more involved? And we said, well, make a long-term commitment to the movement. So boldly, he stepped out and made a 15-year commitment to curate the Global Citizen Festival.
Wow.
And immediately he called Beyoncé, he called Ed Sheeran, he said, I want you guys to be involved. And they both turned around and said yes. And so we've actually formed as well a long-term partnership now with Beyoncé's Chime for Change initiative, and that was found initially by her and Selma Hayek-Pinault, and they came together and they created with Gucci this Chime for Change initiative focused on women and girls. And so as of yesterday, we've now joined forces for the long haul.
That's just awesome. And you had Jay-Z last year.
Yeah, Jay was amazing.
Right?
And I mean, and when Beyoncé came out at the very end, it was a big surprise.
That was a huge thing. Everybody went bananas. I remember that. So how can people get tickets to this?
Well,
because I want tickets.
Okay, well, you should come along. Are you a Global Citizen already?
I am not, sadly to say, but I will be.
Okay, well, all you have to do is go to globalcitizen.org, and you sign up, you create your own user profile, much like you would on Facebook or Twitter, and then you click on Global Citizen Festival link, and it takes you through what we call an action journey. These are 8 actions that you can take, and once you've taken those actions, you go into the draw to win tickets. And then we give you 5 different action journeys, so you can actually go into the draw 5 times, and we'll have special actions that people can take over the summer for these days of action where you get extra opportunities to enter the draw. Because we know that there are lots of people who want to come to the festival this year.
Yeah.
So it is a draw.
And you're distributing 48,000 tickets, is that?
Right, yeah, free tickets. Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
That's awesome. That is so good. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for being with us. Hugh Evans, Kweku Mandela. You guys are doing amazing.
Thank you for having
us.
us.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.